let you guys know what this show is. It is a week by week discussion of the major happenings on televised wrestling. That's kind of a weird way to phrase it, but it is what it is. Like I said, it's televised nationwide wrestling. We're not going over what happened in fucking um, PFW or whatever. Which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a great show that does that if you want to listen to it. It's Nate's show, but also it's this is more about basically the Monday Night Wars at this point.
Mm-hmm.
WWF, WCW, what was going on there week by week. What we're going into now is we're coming out of Spring Stampede 1997, which happened on April 6th. And so obviously now we're on April 7th, 1997. The Monday Night Wars are kicking high gear here. So unless you guys have anything else to add to that, I don't know if I explained it properly, but that's what we're doing. Unless you guys have anything, we're going to roll right into Nitro.
This is
good on my part.
Like I've said in the past, as we've gone through these shows, this is like Aaron said, this little period right here is when the Monday Night Wars really heat up because essentially Vince is frustrated, tired of having his back against the wall, and that's when Vince McMahon performs his best, when he's under pressure. So now you're getting some of the best television the WWF has produced in years.
Yes. And it's also, honestly, some of the best, I don't want to say in-ring, because WCW was always good in-ring, but they're actually having compelling storylines and things happening on their show. It's not RoboCop anymore. I mean, there's still like the Dennis Rodmans and the Kevin Greens, but it's not Ding Dongs and RoboCops and Norman the Lunatics.
And most of the year that you're covering here, 97, is all good because WCW essentially, my opinion, peaks at Starrcade 97.
Yes.
So, right.
There you go.
And we'll get there. It'll be a long journey, but we'll get there. So we're in WCW Nitro. We're going to do Nitro first because we're coming out of the WCW pay-per-view. They are in Huntsville, Alabama at the Von Braun Civic Center. I have no fucking idea who Von Braun is, but he got a Civic Center named after him, so good for him. The show starts with a recap of the ending of Spring Stampede. Not what they should have shown, but what they decided to show was the Randy Savage, Eric Bischoff confrontation. Instead of, you would think, WCW Nitro, we hate the NWO, they might have recapped, I don't know, DDP beating the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
Much like Archie, you weren't able to join us last week, but the end of Spring Stampede, if you guys don't know, it was Macho Man versus DDP in this like long, like heated angle they had, this feud, and DDP finally beats the Macho Man. And instead of sending the people home happy with the pay-per-view, they end it with the Macho Man and Eric Bischoff getting in a confrontation. So all the fanfare they could have got for DDP, they just kind of were like, hey, yeah, DDP won. Okay, let's get him out of here. Let's move on with Bischoff's vanity project here.
Yes.
This was one of WCW's problems as well at this time, as they were putting Bischoff and Hogan front and center in everything. Yeah. Like you said, DDP should have been able to have a ticker tape parade having beaten the Macho Man, but instead it was Bischoff and Macho have cracks in the NWO now. And what really should have happened at this pay-per-view, granted it was Spring Stampede, but I believe Hogan has been gone 3 months already without a title defense. And his next title defense is Roddy Piper again. So it's not exactly like they're got everything, firing on all cylinders when it comes to the WCW World Title Division or the NWO storyline right now.
So we get Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko checking in on play-by-play, and now they're going to discuss and show video stills of Randy Savage versus DDP, and they also, once again, overshadow that by discussing the turmoil within the NWO.
Yes.
So, Oh,
I don't mean to interject, Aaron, but you know what I
fine.
used to love about wrestling back at this time period? Everything used to say courtesy of WCW or WWF magazine on the bottom when it was a still photo. And nowadays they actually show you the whole match on Raw or
Yeah.
whatever show you're watching. Before it was buy the magazine to find out what happened at the pay per view. Now it's hey, we don't give a shit. You watched it or you didn't hear. Watch Raw.
It's it's not a it's I don't want it's not a business anymore. I don't know. Does that make
I
sense?
agree. No, I agree with you.
But like it's it used to be buy our magazine, buy our ticket, buy this, buy that. Now it's just stream, whatever.
Yep.
But Tony and Larry check in. Like I said, they talk about the turmoil of the NWO and show stills of DDP versus Randy Savage. And the opening match is Conan teaming with Hugh Morris to go into a tag team match against Alex Wright and Psychosis.
That's a random team.
Yes, it's a random match, and did Archie leave?
He might have fell off. He'll probably be back though.
I'll keep going. Then they show DDP arriving earlier today, and he's bruised up, banged up, saying it's not over. The funny part is he keeps telling the cameraman to get out of his face. He's like, "Get out of my face. I don't want to talk to you." But then he continues cutting a promo into the camera. He's like, "Get out of my face, monkey boy. This thing with Savage ain't over. I'll tell you what. Get that camera out of my face. I want him again." It's like, so you either want me out of your face or you want to keep cutting your promo, DDP. I don't understand. And the match is what it is. It doesn't sound like on paper that it should be good, but it wasn't actually a bad match. I mean, the collection is weird, but the guys themselves aren't bad. So it was a decent little opening match with Hugh Morris getting the no laughing matter on Alex Wright for the victory.
And I think after this point, Hugh Morris and Conan for a little while at least become a more regular tag team.
Yeah. Well, they're really the only things left of the Dungeon of Doom, except for Kevin's. Like the Dungeon of Doom is weird right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Kevin Sullivan, Conan, and Hugh Morris, and then like randomly Max will come out, and they're like, "Oh, he's part of the Dungeon of Doom."
It's funny too because no matter what their personality is, they're coming out to that slow music.
Yeah.
So like Conan's coming out to that slow music, but he's going Adelaide.
Weird little collection of people. So the next match is Lord Steven Regal versus Rey Mysterio Jr. Neither one of them get a televised entrance. It goes to commercial. It comes back. They're in the ring, and Tony Schiavone completely fucks up. And they're standing in the ring, and it's like ding, 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 ding. And Tony's like, and here we go, Lord Steven Regal versus Prince Iaukea. And then he just keeps going. Like, he doesn't even correct himself. He's like, it's Lord Steven Regal versus Prince Iaukea. Look at this here with Rey Mysterio now going into this match. It's like he just kept on going. NWO members arrive. This herd of NWO is Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Vince, and Ted DiBiase. So they arrive together. Regal is bumping like a madman for Rey Mysterio. He's selling these Huracan Ranas and these flips and flops. He's doing a fantastic job. Regal ends up, though, swatting down Rey Mysterio, getting him in the Regal stretch. Rey gets to the ropes, but Regal will not break the hold because he's pissed off. And the referee, Randy Anderson, ends up disqualifying Regal for refusal to break the hold off a rope break. And then Prince Iaukea comes out to try to stop this fuckery by William Regal. And William Regal beats the shit out of him and puts him in the Regal stretch. And everybody's happy about it. Like, Regal's super over right now. Like, the people aren't booing these beat ups that he's doing, these beat downs that he's doing to people. They're like into it.
Yes.
It's the sign of the times of Back in the day, they would have booed him because he's a bully. But wrestling fans want to see a guy just kick the shit out of something.
This is the mid to late 90s, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. If you're an asshole and a bully, people are like, yeah.
Like from 1994 until September 11th, 2001, we were one rowdy, raunchy country.
Yes. Like if you look back at it now, Steve Austin was a prick. And we're going to talk about it in 97. He's an asshole the whole year. People just fucking love every minute of it. So now the next round of NWO members show up. It's Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, Six Pac, Mike Rotunda, Randy Savage, Fake Sting, Liz, and Kevin Nash. That's who arrives. So more people are kind of siding with Kevin Nash and Randy Savage than they are Hogan. Hogan basically has Virgil and Ted DiBiase, and Kevin Nash has everybody else. Welcome back, Archie.
Sorry about that. My internet decided to drop out.
Oh, I understand. But just recapping, the entire NWO Archie has now showed up, but they're in two different factions. We'll go over this one more time because it's important. For later on, the NWO breakdown is Hogan, Bischoff, Vince, and Ted DiBiase on one side, and then Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, Six, Mike Rotunda, Randy Savage, Fake Sting, Liz, and Nash on the other side. So
yes,
the next match, Ice Train comes out with Teddy Long as his manager, and the Horseman music hit, and I was a little worried because I thought it was going to be Ice Train versus Steve McMichael for some reason. I did not want to watch that, but
no.
It was not. It was Chris Benoit. So Chris Benoit comes out with Woman. While this match is going on, the NWO confront each other in like a little tiny room in the back. Like DiBiase's trying to play mediator, and they're just kind of arguing with each other. Hogan and Savage are, and Nash. They do little. It's actually not a bad little statement. They do little subtle things in it, like Savage and Hogan are kind of arguing with each other, and Nash just walks away. But Hogan's not like, "Where you going, brother?" or anything like that. They let you see what, you know what I mean?
Yes, there's obviously tension.
Yeah, but they're not over explaining it. They're just
right.
Like, you see what you see, and I just thought this was actually a pretty well done segment.
It was, but mainly because there was actually real turmoil going on as well. I remember listening to a shoot interview with Kevin Nash, where he says at this time he was pissed because they weren't using Scott Hall correctly, and the WCW tag titles weren't really being defended that much. And he was pissed that his friends were kind of being pushed to the wayside so that Hogan and Bischoff could do their thing. Meanwhile, him, Macho, and Scott were the only ones wrestling at the time. So,
and all the bullshit that's going on with these guys right now, because Aaron's show is taking place at this point we're into April, and on Slice of Time, obviously I do a week. It's the week that the literal week. So I'm into May. Late May, and by late May, Kevin Sullivan is given a leave of absence because Eric Bischoff's like, I think Kevin Sullivan might essentially like kill himself or something because he's so stressed out. Like he's just, it's like you need to go home. These guys are stressing the bosses out because of all their bullshit. But anyway,
right.
He's gonna jump off his camper and commit suicide.
And sorry, I keep muting my mic, guys. I keep having sneezing fits, like when you tickle a kitten's nose. But anyway.
Well, tell the kitten to stop tickling your nose.
This match is actually not bad. Ice Train kind of works like a big man thing over Benoit. Benoit like has a couple points where you like throw it. You guys know how Benoit was. He'd just throw his fucking body into something,
Yep.
But he's selling it like he's bouncing off of Ice Train. So he's got to figure out. Basically, it's the little guy trying to figure out how to get this big fucker down, and he ends up doing it because he gets a DDT on Ice Train and pins him 1, 2, 3. It was kind of weird. Never seen Benoit in a match with a DDT before, but that's the finish they went with. It's interesting.
People tend to a lot of times shit on Ice Train, and I don't really get it. He was not ever going to be the world's heavyweight champion. He was never going to be a main eventer. But for a guy his size, he was a decent worker.
Yeah.
He wasn't as good as Scott Norton for a guy that size. But I always, as far as just like Aaron, like having a match with Chris Benoit, he's not going to do anything embarrassing. He's fine.
And he actually looks like a fucking wrestler.
Yeah.
Right. And I liked him when he teamed with Scott Norton, and I think that he learned a lot from Scott as how to be a big man. I think that when Scott initially turned heel, I think they should have turned Ice Train heel with him and let them be a heel tag team. Mm-hmm. But I guess with the whole NWO thing, they knew Scott was going to end up joining up because of his affiliation to Japan. So Ice Train just kind of got left in the wind with Teddy Long as his manager and, jobbing to anybody and everybody.
And then he got settled with M.I. Smooth, and then he disappeared.
Yep.
Jericho said that Teddy Long's a great guy, but when you were in the WCW, if creative was that coming to you and they were like, we got a great idea, we're going to put you with Teddy Long, you were like, oh no.
Like
There was a big difference between 80s Teddy Long, like when he was with the Skyscrapers, and 90s Teddy Long when he was
there's a big difference between babyface Teddy Long manager and
heel Teddy Long. Right. He was great in WWF when he was managing Mark Henry and Rodney Mack, but he was crap in WCW because they were saddling with Jim Powers and Ice Train and whoever they could, and he was just like, yeah, I'll manage him, no big deal.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then we get more hype for the Double Team movie, which I kept fucking up the name. I think I called it like last week. I think I called it like Double Tick or Double Kick. And the week before it was like Double Trouble. The movie is called Double Team, and it's Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme in this fucking movie. And this is the premiere in Chicago, and Hulk Hogan's there, and he's doing that. Like I said, he's doing that annoying Hulk Hogan cutting a promo on Entertainment Tonight voice, where he doesn't want to. I know what he's doing. He's projecting himself to outside the wrestling world people, because even when he's there, like he doesn't have his like black gruff.
Mm-hmm.
He just has like he looks like normal Hulk Hogan, just wearing a black outfit, if that makes sense. And he's not like talking like an asshole. He's like, yeah, me and the Rod Man, we're hanging and banging. Like he's trying to play both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to be a bad guy on shit that's like Entertainment Tonight because he still wants to be able to make fucking kids movies, but he's still trying. This is what I'm saying, making sense.
Oh yeah, it's his schmoozing promo.
Yeah, and it is what it is. Dennis Rodman is like wearing like lipstick and glitter, and he's outrageous. Zabisco says, "Oh, there's Mrs. Rodman right there." So anyway, Rodman tries to cut a wrestling promo, and it sucks. I hate Dennis Rodman. I hate him. God damn, I hate Dennis Rodman. So this is the premiere of the movie. So hopefully this is the end of Double Team hype. But if you guys have anything on that,
nope.
Right.
I didn't like Double Team. It was a crap movie, but Dennis Rodman made crap movies.
I don't ever even remember watching it. Maybe I'll watch it and we'll review it next week. I don't know. But the next
Please no.
The next match, I thought it was going to be Chavo. I even started writing down Chavo because Chavo's music hits, but it's not Chavo. It's Hector Guerrero. He comes out. He's going to be facing off against Kevin Sullivan with Miss Jackie and Jimmy Hart with him. They're talking about the weird stuff that happened at Spring Stampede during the U.S. title match with Eddie being out there and Kevin being out there and just all the insanity of it. And that now Hector is fighting Kevin Sullivan, and Zbyszko can't get over how much Hector looks like Eddie. He just keeps talking about that.
He really did, though. He
Yeah.
really did.
But in reality, wouldn't be the fact that Eddie looked like Hector,
Right.
seeing as Hector came first.
He's just talking about how much they look alike.
Oh, what a turkey that Hector was.
What a gooker.
Poor Chavo Sr., nobody looked like him.
Chavo's Jr. does now.
Right, as he gets older, right.
But in this match, Jackie is just kicking the ever-loving shit out of Hector every time he's out on the ground. She's slamming around, hip tossing him, beating the ever-loving shit out of him. Basically, they're doing their own little China with Jackie is what they're doing. And then she ends up throwing him back in the ring. Kevin Sullivan hits the double foot stomp and beats it. 1, 2, 3. And that's just how that ends. Zbyszko calls it the reverse Heimlich. I don't know if that's the actual name for it or what, or if he's trying to be funny, but it didn't work.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. So that match was what it was. The next thing is a very big talking segment, but there's a lot of moving parts to it. So bear with me, guys, okay? And if you got anything to say during it, just say, hey, and I'll stop, and we'll just keep going, right?
All right.
Sounds good.
The NWO enters the arena in mass, but separated. DiBiase, like basically the group, Hogan's little group, they come out, and then Nash comes out with his big herd of people, and then Randy Savage is bringing up the rear because he's on crutches from his match with DDP. DiBiase's trying to play the middleman again, the mediator between the groups. He allows Hogan to speak first. Hogan first says that Nash has a problem with him being at the Double Team movie premiere. Nash says he has no problem with Dennis Rodman. He, in fact, respects Dennis Rodman because, much like Rodman, he played basketball as well, and he knows that he's an athlete. But essentially, he's pissed off that he was left out of going to the premiere. Hogan says he understands that and promises him the next time there's an NWO happening like that, he'll be able to go. And then Hogan questions where Scott Hall is. Nash assures the NWO that Scott Hall is NWO for life and says that if anybody's NWO, like nobody's more NWO than Scott Hall.
Which is true.
Yes. And then Hogan then tells Nash, we're either going to make up or we're going to fight. It's going to be one or the other right now. Nash contemplates it for a minute and says to Hogan, I don't have to love you to respect you. Basically, I'm a man of my word and you've been a man of your word. We don't have to be friends, but the NWO is NWO for life. And if you got my back, I got yours, basically is what he tells him. And they give each other the wolf pack. And then the attention turns to Savage and DiBiase, or Savage and Bischoff. And Bischoff says, or Hogan says to Bischoff and Savage that if me and the big man can make up and bury the hatchet, you two should be able to do that as well. Savage kind of swings at Bischoff a little bit. Bischoff's backing up. Then Savage says, much like Eric Bischoff's on probation with Ted Turner, he's on probation with the Macho Man, and they can be friends. Basically, he says, we'll put this on hold. I'll say I'll be your buddy. I'll have your back. But if you fuck up one more time with me, if you put your hands on me one more time, I'm gonna knock your ass out. So he says, as long as you don't interfere with me again, we ain't got no problem. So basically, he's saying, if I want to smack a woman like I wanted to last night, you just watch it, and we'll be okay.
Right.
And Bischoff's
Stand by
like,
and watch.
and Bischoff's like, cool, I'll do that.
This whole thing is essentially like, it's kind of like Archie was trying to say earlier, is This is essentially real life playing out on TV.
Right.
You know, the politics of the whole thing are making they're making the NWO too complicated.
Yes. So they all end up leaving together, and Tony and Zbyszko are a little dejected because they thought this was going to be the imploding of the NWO, but they're all hunky dory now. As long as everybody just stays out of everybody's way and has each other's backs, they're good. So you guys got anything on that? I know that was a long.
Yeah. Yes, I do actually. This is my biggest problem that I have with the NWO storyline is you developed a storyline that was a great thing. It hasn't even been a year yet, and it's already imploding. I've always contested, shouldn't the implosion of the NWO been sparked by Sting beating Hogan?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Essentially, by the time Sting gets his match with Hogan, the NWO's feuding with the NWO already. And, you know, I mean, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but.
Well, no, you're right, because look at it this way. When Hogan lost to Sting, none of the NWO was actually in the ring. You know what I mean? They didn't come to help Hogan. It was Bret Hart screwing Hogan, you know what I mean, in a stupid finish, however it was. And then when Hogan lost to Goldberg, none of the NWO was there either. So
Right.
you look at the NWO, oh, we'll have each other's backs, but we'll stay out of each other's way. Well, why are you letting them lose the title then? That should have made strife in the faction. All it really did was make them stronger because, you know, later on in time we get to even more stupider NWO storylines that they just keep coming back to life.
Yeah.
You know.
So I just thought this was it was decent, but it was just too long. It went way too long. Hour number 2 starts. It's Tony is joined by Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay, and then Mean Gene introduces Ric Flair. This is kind of the start of Flair being top of the hour, like bringing Flair out for the Mean Gene interview, like right at 9 o'clock or 8:55, because they think Flair will keep people watching and not flip over Raw.
Yet he never drew a dime.
Yeah, never do a dime, but we want to make sure we keep ratings, so we're gonna have Flair at the top of the hour.
Here's the funny thing, though, Aaron. I agree with you, but if you were going to try to keep fans watching by doing a Flair promo, maybe have him change the promo from week to week. Instead of it being the same damn thing week in and week out, him coming out and going, woo, by God, Gene. And then, you know, this guy's on Horseman business, and we're going to do this. And, you know, Piper. And it was the same promo every week. You know, so.
So speaking of that, Ric Flair comes out and he's going to talk about Horseman business.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings out Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper comes out, and this is a funny time. And well, not just this time. Like even when they were together in like '99, when both of them were like totally batshit crazy. To me, one of the subtle joys in the in wrestling is bagpipe Roddy Piper music playing and Ric Flair doing the strut dance.
Yes.
Flair getting down to Roddy Piper's bagpipe music cracks me up.
It's wonderful and ridiculous.
Every time. It doesn't matter. When I see him fucking dance, the bagpipe music fucking cracks me up. So Piper comes out. They're talking about being reunited. And I think that NWO segment went a little too long. Not like out of personal opinion, but I think for the show. Because this is really rushed. Like Flair comes out and he's like, I'm reunited with Roddy Piper, and here's Roddy Piper right now. And then Roddy Piper comes out, and Roddy Piper says some shit real quick and talks about how the NWO stinks. And when he means it stinks, he's like, they smell like 7 dead otters in a drain pipe. And then he goes, and speaking of that, we got Kevin Green, and Kevin Green is in the ring before Piper can even finish introducing Kevin Green. So like it's like I think they just rushed these guys through this, and basically Flair, Piper, and Kevin Green. Kevin Green kind of marks out. Like he gets in the ring and he's like, "I'm here, baby." And he's cutting his regular football player trying to cut a wrestling promo thing, but he's like, "I'm in here, baby. I'm in here, Roddy Piper, freaking awesome, man." That's exactly how he says it.
I was just about to say that he was always one of my top 5 favorite celebrity wrestling involvements, like Mike Tyson, Lawrence Taylor, Kevin Green. The best guys are always the one that just love the business and want to work. They want to do a good job. They're not. Kevin Green wasn't just there for the paycheck. I'm sure that was nice.
Yeah, but he was like Roddy Piper, freaking awesome, man. It wasn't him. I think it was at that moment he just realized, they had probably been talking about this, and then he just realized, I'm in a fucking wrestling ring with Ric Flair and Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper, right?
Christ, it's actually happening now. I put Kevin Federline on that list too.
Yes, Kevin Federline was a good heel.
Yeah, and for what it was, I thought Karl Malone did a good job too.
Yes, Karl Malone did do a very good job with DDP.
So basically, these three are challenging any members of the NWO to a 6-man match at the next pay-per-view. So that's what we get out of that. And then they're out of there quick. Like I said, I think that NWO thing went out longer than what it was supposed to. And who's going to say anything? Eric Bischoff was in it. Go back there and whatever, fuck off. It's my shit. Then the next match is the best match on the show, obviously. It's Chris Jericho trying to wrestle the United States Championship away from Dean Malenko. There is a point, and this is something that I miss in wrestling, okay? They're talking about this match, and Mike Tenay points out that a couple months back, at a pay-per-view, Chris Jericho had a really good showing against Eddie Guerrero in a United States Championship match. And that's why the championship committee has decided that Chris Jericho, who's normally a cruiserweight, is now deemed quality enough or whatever to be able to compete for the United States Championship. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a reason for these matches, and
right.
There's it's not just two guys going out there and being like, okay, you and I are going to fight tonight. I miss the fact of there being a committee or somebody in charge making a reason why somebody controlling what's going on back there,
and not somebody not somebody who every single wrestler every single week walks into their office and they'd have a discussion looking at both facing the same way at the camera. And, it's an unseen, and granted, you have a representative in JJ Dillon or whatever that once in a while when a big decision has to be, but I like what you're saying. We don't have to always hear from the fucking committee. This is the decision they made, and the announcers tell the people why they made that decision.
Yeah. They have actually, like I said, a really good match. I don't think these two could have a bad match if they wanted to. They do a lot of chain wrestling, and the team's putting over the Dean Malenko as a fighting champion. Then Jericho ends up taking a face shot to the turnbuckle and drops down. Malenko basically punts him in the face and pins him 1, 2, 3. Decent little match. There's not a lot more to say about it. It was a match to get Jericho on the show, saying that he's a scrappy up-and-coming contender and that Dean Malenko is a fighting champion, and that's why this match is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it was effective. The next match is High Voltage versus Public Enemy. I wrote Dear Lord.
That'll put butts in the seats.
Yeah.
I think the less said about this match here and
I know. They end up getting Chaos onto a table. Grunge tries to drive him through it, but Chaos moves. So Rocco, standing in the ring, watches his stupid partner drive himself through a table. And he's just like, geez. And as he's like looking at that, Rage hits him with a back suplex and pins him. And they talk about how High Voltage beating Public Enemy is a major upset. I was majorly upset for having to watch this.
Right.
But guess what, guys? We get to watch it next week, too, because after the match, the Public Enemy's upset, and they are interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund, and they challenge High Voltage to a Philly street fight next week because they're going to be in Philadelphia, and they say, let's get extreme.
Boo.
Yeah. So,
and the crowd goes mild.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Apparently, we're going to see a Philly street fight next week between High Voltage and the Public Enemy.
And the villagers rejoiced. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. Then we see footage of Prince Iakea getting taped up because, Regal beat him up earlier. And he's got to go in and face Ultimo Dragon for his TV title later on tonight. And then the next match is Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry versus Jeff Jarrett and Steve Mongo McMichael. But there's no Steve McMichael. They have no idea where he is. So then it turns into a 2-on-1 match. And Deborah's just talking about how she can't find Steve McMichael. Jarrett's trying to mount an offense against Harlem Heat. And then Mongo finally shows up. But they don't really explain where he was at. Like, I don't understand. But he shows up and he ends up getting like a hot tag into the ring. And Bobby Heenan says something that either he was making himself laugh or he was just going with it and doing what he was told. But he claims that Steve Mongo McMichael is the most improved wrestler in the wrestling business. Last year, Mongo has improved better than any other wrestler.
And Joe Gomez is the main eventer.
So, yeah.
Come on now, though. We all know where Mongo was when he wasn't in the ring with Jared. He was out handling horseman business.
Yes.
Or he was handling his own horseman. I don't know. He was handling his own business. But Mongo ends up getting tagged back in. Wait, sorry. This is more convoluted Jeff Jarrett Mongo bullshit. Jarrett, who had just been getting the shit kicked out of him, Mongo, like I said, came in, hot tagged, did some shit, and then tagged Jarrett in quick. And Jarrett's like, what the fuck? And Mongo ends up pushing him and into like a Harlem sidekick from Booker T, and the Harlem Heat wins via pinfall. And then Mean Gene interviews Mongo and Jarrett, and same old shit with those two. Jarrett being like, "You're supposed to be on my team," and Mongo's like, "I'm on your team," and Deborah just calls somebody fat and nasty, and then they leave. Like, what is going on?
Daddy.
Yeah, Daddy. Then there's a Lee Marshall 1-800-COLLECT commercial. I can't even. He didn't really make a weasel joke that I can remember. He was just talking about they were going to be at the Spectrum in Philly next week. Is what it is. What?
There is one that I wanted to mention because it's the stiffest. It's not stiffest on Lee Marshall's part. It's stiffest on Bobby's part. There's one where Lee Marshall is in Memphis, I believe, because he brings up Elvis Presley, and he says something to the effect of instead of Heartbreak Hotel, it's Weasel Hotel. And Bobby goes, Memphis, Lee Marshall, Elvis, the wrong one's in the ground.
Oh.
And I was like, oof.
Oh, God.
I don't know if I got Marshall's joke right, but I know I got Bobby's joke right. And I was like, ooh, that is stiff. The wrong one's on the ground.
That was Bobby telling Lee Marshall, "Can you leave me the fuck alone
Yeah,
when
I'm
you
done
do
with
me
this.
Done anything to you, fucking Tony the Tiger bitch.
I didn't come for you, man."
Well, the next match is the Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono taking on the television champion Prince Iakea. Prince Iakea's all wrapped up and shit, selling his ribs, and he does he tries to get Dragon in something. Dragon kind of reverses it and ends up getting a stiff kick to the ribs on Iakea and rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. New television champion, Ultimo Dragon. The Prince Iakea experiment is over.
Yes.
For now,
until Vince Russo shows up, it's over.
Yes.
He is no longer the world television champion. It is now Ultimo Dragon. So I can finally once again get into the television championship. The journey is over. Happy days. If I had one of them confetti gun things, I'd shoot it off. I'd be all happy.
This was a really weird time for the TV title because it went from Prince Iakea, William Regal, Prince Iakea, to Ultimo Dragon, respectable champion, to Alex Wright down the line, to Disco Inferno, and then we were almost ready for that great series of matches with Benoit, Saturn, Booker, and Rick Martel. But this point in time, it was like, put anybody as the TV champion. We need somebody on TV with the belt. Yeah.
I'm just glad. I'm glad the Iakea experience.
I agree.
So unless you guys get anything on that, we will move into the main event of the night, which is the Giant versus Scott Steiner. Steiner, he's introduced first, and then out of nowhere, Conan and Hugh Morris attack Scott Steiner in the aisle. Then the Giant comes out, and he saves Scott Steiner. And then they run off the Dungeon of Doom, and then they leave together, no match.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yes. But they're like, oh, no, we have no match now. It's like, for one, what the fuck? Like, Conan and Hugh Morris have had no interaction with the Steiner brothers or the Giant. Or, I mean, they could say they had interaction with the Giant because he used to be in the Dungeon of Doom. So, but anyway, this just seems stupid. But then they're talking about, like, we still got time on the show. We don't know what's going to happen. DDP comes out unannounced. And something I did appreciate, and it's something that doesn't happen anymore. This guy comes out unannounced, and guess what?
No music.
No music. Now somebody comes out unannounced, even during a match. They hit their fucking music.
Yep. I just saw it on Raw. Big tag match going on. All of a sudden, here come the Usos for no reason.
Well, they play their music. But DDP comes out. He cuts a promo on facing Savage, and that his match was an anomaly or whatever because winning isn't enough, and calls Savage out. Savage comes out on crutches, but Hulk Hogan comes down and stops him from getting in the ring, saying he'll face DDP since they're family. So, Hogan's trying to be like, I told you I'd have your back, brother, so I'm going to have your back, brother. And he goes to get in the ring, and Sting, the real Sting, drops down from the ceiling and is in between the NWO and DDP, and then he tosses DDP a bat, and the entire NWO back down from Sting and DDP with their bats, and that's how we go off the air. And I'm assuming two of the NWO, probably like Buff and fucking Virgil or something, busted off and ended up like getting pinned by DDP and Sting.
More than likely after the
Oh,
show.
without they got beat with a bat, definitely. That was the
Yeah.
I talk a lot about the end of Hulk Hogan and Sting. and how disappointing it was. And we talk a lot about Hogan's politicking and all that at this point in WCW. There is one thing that I will never deny about Hulk Hogan at this point. When it came to Sting shows up and he is in the vicinity of Hulk Hogan sold Sting like he was the devil coming up from hell. That is something I'll give Hogan. He always seemed it wasn't even so much frightening, or he wasn't frightened. He just didn't even understand. Like, what is up with this guy? This guy freaks me out. Like, Hogan did such a good job putting Sting over in that respect. Because, he talked that big game on the promo or whatever, but as soon as Sting dropped down out of the ceiling or some shit, or during a segment where Sting, you wouldn't even expect he would be there and he'd show up, Hogan's gone. He's going to beat up on the Giant or Luger or whatever, but as soon as Sting
I forgot to mention it, but like during the NWO segment, the fans started chanting, "We want Sting," and Sting was like, "You people don't know it, but Sting's going to get stung earlier than you think." And then, like 20 minutes later, Sting shows up, and Hogan's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
But yeah, I got to give Hogan credit for that. He always put Sting over big time.
My favorite Hogan fear face is when Sting dressed up like Sting, and they just thought it was like an imposter that they brought with them.
Yeah.
And when he pulls the mask off, Hogan looks like he saw, like, remember when Ultimate Warrior got there and Hogan found his head in a box and did that? It was the same way. Sheer terror. Like, he was dressed like Sting. Who did you really think it was? Scott Hall?
It's like when Undertaker came back and Kane's poking him and he's like, "You're not real.
Right.
You're not. It's not really you." Yeah, good stuff.
Yes. So that was the end of Nitro. Do you guys need a break or anything?
I don't.
Okay. I'm good.
All right, then we're going to move into Monday Night Raw. Well, not Monday Night Raw anymore. Raw is War. I am going to grab a beer.
Well, I mean, technically the first hour was Monday Night Raw, and the second hour was Raw's War.
Raw's War Zone, whatever. Basically, Vince set it up where he had two shows.
Yep.
You know what they called the third hour of Monday Night Raw?
Boring.
Lord help me, why the hell am I still watching this?
Raw is bore, yes.
Raw is boring.
Well, this was not 3 hour Raw. This was just 2 hours, basically an hour 30 with commercials. So that's
the sweet spot.
Yeah, it's a perfect time for a wrestling show. They're in Muncie, Indiana, at Ball State. There's a video package of last week's Fireball attack from Paul Bearer and Mankind onto The Undertaker. They just keep showing different angles of that and the fact that Undertaker's burned. And then we come into the show, and the opening match is it's a non-title match. It's the British Bulldog and Owen Hart versus the Godwins. Owen and Bulldog come out first, and Owen cuts a promo about how Bret Hart has brought love back to the Hart family, and that Bret should be appreciated, and people are haters. It's like, you're all haters because we have love and respect in our family, and your family's all hillbilly white trash and all this other stuff. And then he says HBK is going to be coming out here later, and obviously the people pop. And he says that if HBK brings up Bret Hart at all, good or bad, doesn't matter. If you bring up Bret Hart, myself and the Bulldog, we're going to come back out here and we're going to beat your ass because Bret's not there.
And he means it.
Yes, he means it. Then the LOD during this match, they cut a promo talking about how they have an upcoming tag team title match on April 20th against Owen and Bulldog, and Owen and Bulldog end up winning this match while the Road Warriors are cutting their promo. Like, they don't even catch the finish on the big screen, like on a full screen. It's just in the corner or whatever. So the finish is I couldn't really make out exactly what happened. But then Owen and Bulldog are leaving, and the LOD, they come out, and they are on top of the stage, on top of the ramp, confronting Owen and Bulldog. Owen and Bulldog try to leave, but the Godwins are behind them. The Godwins have their slop buckets. Bulldog and Owen are about to get slopped, but they duck, and the Road Warriors LOD get slopped instead. And this causes Owen and Bulldog to be able to get away and laugh, and then causes LOD and the Godwins to get into a fight.
I can't remember. Refresh my memory. Are the Godwins during this segment? Are they still in happy lucky pig farmer gear, or have they switched already to their Confederate flag shirts and stuff?
They're still happy pig farmers.
Okay.
Because they weren't trying to slap the LOD. They were trying to.
Well, no, I couldn't remember if they had changed them over yet at this point.
Oh no, their titties aren't out or anything. They're still wearing the like Phineas is still wearing his yellow shirt, or Henry's still wearing his yellow shirt, and Phineas has his camouflage long sleeve or whatever. They're still happy. They're still happy hillbillies right now
until LOD breaks Henry's neck.
Yes. So the LOD got slapped. They get pissed. They attack the Godwins, and it's a big brawl. And then they show Owen and Bulldog, and they're back after the break. They're back in the like the interview area or whatever. Which, guess what the interview area was? It was a TV on a cart, like they'd roll in, like when you had a substitute teacher. You knew it was going to be an easy period because they just roll the TV in with the VCR on it.
Oh man, we're gonna watch Lean on Me or Glory.
Lean on Me, maybe a couple episodes of Reading Rainbow. This is going to be easy today.
Or
Miss Pauline ain't in tonight.
Or are we watching Glory? What are we watching?
In my school, in my elementary, it was Lean on Me and Cheetah. That was
it was Lean on Me and Glory for us. Like, I don't know how many times I saw the movie Glory because
I saw Cheetah more times than I ever wanted. Do you guys even know what that is?
No, not me.
About a South African white kid that winds up bonding with a cheetah. It's like whatever.
Okay. I'm surprised you guys got mainstream movies. We used to get like independent films.
Well, see, the movies were in high school for me. When I was in elementary school, it was like it was the same two videos of Schoolhouse Rock. You know,
yeah.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill.
We watched those too, but whenever it's just a movie, like the teacher was like, "We got 2 hours here. We're just gonna watch this movie." And then I had a teacher in 8th grade. His favorite movie was that fucking Quigley Down Under with Tom Selleck, the Aborigines or whatever. If he had nothing for the lesson plan, it's like, we're gonna watch Quigley Down Under today. Anyway, I don't know how we got into that, but that's how I do now. The interview set, and now is like this big like HD stream, like all this crazy shit behind it. This was a area set up by where the wrestlers go out, and it was just a raw banner, like what I got, like what Nate and I have behind us, and the fucking high school or the elementary TV tray. You know what I mean? TV. Yes. That's all it was. And if a wrestler decided he wanted to stop by and say something before he went out, that's where he did it. It wasn't some big fucking set. Anyway, Owen and Bulldog, they keep wanting to watch this video of the LOD getting slopped. And Bulldog keeps saying, "Play it again for the World Tag Team Champions. We're the World Tag Team Champions. Play it again, play it again." And they just keep watching it and watching it. And then there's a point where they're watching it, and then all of a sudden, like, you hear something go, "You stupid son of a bitch." And it's Steve Austin, and he has to go out for his match, and he just sees Owen and Bulldog, like, laughing at this video. And as he's walking, he sees them, and he starts yelling at them, and Owen Hart's like, "This is our time. You're ruining our fun, Austin," and all this shit. There's no physical anything to it. It's just like Austin going to the ring, calling him a son of a bitch because he's got to go out and have this match. And they're like, "Leave us alone. You're ruining our fun." Austin just goes away. I don't know if I'm describing it properly, but it seemed
Spontaneous
and real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, anyway,
if it was today, and Austin and no one never would have agreed to bullshit like this, but if it was today, first of all, they'd have all been facing the same way. Like, how are you even watching the video? It's behind you. And then Austin would have come up and also been facing the same way, and they would have delivered hokey, cheesy, stupid lines that were clearly not coming from them.
This was just Austin saying, "You two are stupid sons of bitches," and they're like, "Stop ruining our fun."
Yes, they were just being themselves.
He also wouldn't have interrupted them watching a movie. He probably would have broken their video game system or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it would have. Yeah, this is just, the segment was whoever's giving the direction, whoever's producing it, whether it's Bruce Pritchard or Vince McMahon or whatever, saying, "You guys are watching the video and you're having fun watching it." And Austin comes by and calls you some slur names and ruins your fun. Go. There was no pre-planned,
Right.
There was no script. There was, Anyway.
So the show, we find out, is sponsored by Coliseum Home Video and America Online. And Vince McMahon says America Online is the exclusive cyberspace home for the World Wrestling Federation. It's the only cyberspace home.
Well, no, actually, no, that's not true.
Net Geo.
No, WCW, their website was on CompuServe.
Okay.
So you couldn't get the WWF's website on CompuServe, and you couldn't get WCW's on AOL.
Okay.
That changes very quickly within the next year or two, but this was the primitive days of home internet for people who don't know. Very, very, those of you that don't know, your minds would be blown at how different it was. But anyway.
You got mail.
So Stone Cold Steve Austin it's funny because the camera's like towards the set, obviously, but it's like a far shot. And you see the Honky Tonk Man start to come out, but then he turns around and runs back real quick. So I think Honky Tonk Man assumed me and Billy Gunn are facing Steve Austin, so we're probably going out first. And he went to go, and fucking Monsoon was like, "Get the fuck back here," or whatever, and he had to turn back around because Honky Tonk Man, he's like ready to get out, and then it's like he spins around real quick, and then Austin's music hit. So Austin comes out first, and then Billy Gunn comes out with the Honky Tonk Man, and Honky Tonk Man. Oh, I forgot to mention Honky Tonk Man is on commentary this week. Lawler's still not around. I don't know where the fuck Lawler is, but it's still Honky Tonk Man. But he comes out with Billy Gunn. Then he goes back to the table, and he's talking about Billy Gunn, loving Billy Gunn, this, that, and the other thing. And then we go back to Owen and Bulldog, and they're still pissed off about Austin ruining their fun. And they tell Steve Austin to leave Bret Hart alone, stop talking about him. And then during the match, we find out that Sunday Night Heat is ripping and roaring. Sunday Night Heat. It's not what you think, though. It's USA Sunday night programming entitled Sunday Night Heat with Pacific Blue, Silk Stockings, and the Big Easy. Okay?
Vince was like, I got to steal that name.
Pacific Blue comes on at 8, Silk Stockings at 9, Big Easy at 10. You know what the most interesting thing about this whole thing is?
What?
Silk Stockings is Jim Ross's favorite show. What he says, he's like, Silk Stockings, that's my favorite. I love me some Silk Stockings, Honky. And then Honky talked about
it used to be Murder, She Wrote, and then it was Walker, Texas Ranger, and now it's Silk Stockings.
I always thought of myself as Jim Ross being like a in the heat of the night guy.
Like some Carol O'Connor.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I thought that was funny that Jim Ross was stating that Silk Stockings was his favorite television program of all time. But this match is going on, and Honky Tonk Man is singing the praises of Billy Gunn, and Austin ends up getting the Stone Cold Stunner on Billy Gunn and pinning him 1, 2, 3. And the Honky Tonk Man says he's going to go speak with Billy Gunn after the match. And he says that Billy Gunn should have no shame in losing to the Honky Tonk, or Billy Gunn should have no shame in losing to Steve Austin, because Steve Austin's one tough son of a bitch. But if he sticks with the Honky Tonk Man can make him a star. And Billy Gunn ends up punching the Honky Tonk Man and knocking him out.
Oh, so we're at this is the cusp of the New Age Outlaws.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
And then Jim Ross said, Silk Stockings is my favorite TV show since What's Happening. It is dynamite.
You know, it would be funny because every now and then on AEW, Jim Ross has like a memory lapse and he doesn't remember who's in the ring and things. It'd be funny if like there was a match going on and all of a sudden he just, guys, I still like Silk Stockings.
Still like Silk Stockings. Is that here on TNT?
Is that on TNT?
No, that was the USA Network.
It's like, it's Wednesday night. You know what that means? Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Followed by 6 Stockings on TBS. JR, we told you it's not on this channel.
And he's got a senior moment. He's like, what's happening?
It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Welcome back, Cotter.
So anyway, then we find out that you can buy an Undertaker door banner for $29.95 from WWE. I almost said shop.com. That's not a thing yet. You got to call 1-900-SHOP-WWE. You can get an Undertaker door banner for $29.95. This is a weird segment because Doc is selling it, and he's got these 2 door banners hanging up, and there's these 2 small children with their backs to the camera just staring up at the Undertaker door banner. And then they spin around, and Doc talks to the little girl. She's like, back to you, Vince. And they're like, or whatever. So I'm assuming the little girl was somebody's kid.
Probably.
More than likely, yeah.
It's weird the way they have the kids. It's like, it looks like some Blair Witch shit. You got to see it to understand what I'm saying, but it was fucking weird.
Every week they would hype these products. Every week it'd be some, either a jacket or, like you said, the wall banner. Like the most, to me, I don't know why, but the most ridiculous one it wasn't those Pog things or whatever they were. The most ridiculous one that I remember is it's that big inflatable WWF chair.
Chair?
Huh?
That inflatable King of the Ring chair.
Yeah.
You can get it for $85.
It's the most uncomfortable thing you'll ever sit in.
You're probably gonna pop it.
I'm like, that is the most ridiculous goddamn piece of merchandise they ever tried to hawk.
Weight restriction, 47 pounds.
Yeah, no shit.
I think you guys are both a little older than me, right?
Not by much, but yeah.
I'm 39.
I only got you by a year.
Okay. Well, Archie might remember this then. That was a thing for like a hot minute, just one short minute when I was in high school, was inflatable furniture.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Like, Nate had children and stuff. Like, he had a kid, so he had shit going on. Like, he had a job and stuff. But that was a thing for a very short period of time. You would go into like your buddy's room and he'd have like one of those, like an inflatable chair. And even
how easy would it be to move?
Even then,
you kicked it across the room.
Yeah, even then, I was like, I'm not doing that. I tried the gaming chairs when those came out. I tried that, and I was like, this isn't for me. I can't sit in this thing. But when people were like, do you want a blow up chair? I'm like, no. Fuck you. I'm not sitting.
Well,
my own chair?
When I was in high school, it was always challenging even to get out of your buddy's room because you had to try to get out of a beanbag chair.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ, you can get in, but you can't get out.
Try an inflatable chair. That was a thing.
The Hotel California.
So We found out about the Undertaker door banner, and then we meet a man. And his name, well, he comes out, and he's speaking. How do I say it? He comes out and he tells everybody to listen to him, pay attention to me. And Jim Ross goes, "Who the hell's that guy?" And then he goes, "I am the Commandant." Like, it sounded like it was almost rehearsed, but it wasn't. Like, so basically we get the debut of the Commandant, who, if you guys don't know, is the initial WWF leader of the Truth Commission. We haven't seen all of the Truth Commission yet, but he's on the Commandant is here.
And he's apparently a good friend of Bret Hart's. That's how he landed the job.
Yes. He is a South African actor.
Yes. And if you guys, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I thought that with him with the gimmick, it was cool.
It was.
Yeah, the Jackal made no sense whatsoever.
No. Yeah, by the time they got the Jackal, it was kind of. But I mean, I don't know. He comes off as kind of creepy, kind of. I don't know. I thought it was good stuff.
Am I imagining though that weren't there 4 members of the Truth Commission, including the Commandant?
Okay, there was there was Sniper, Recon, Kurgan, the Interrogator, and the other one was Tank, which was actually Mantar.
Okay,
they were the Truth Commission in Memphis. And they filmed stuff with them as all 4 of them.
Right.
So on some of the videos leading up to them debuting, there is footage of all 4 of them. But by the time they get to TV, there's only the 3. So that's why you remember him being in the Truth Commission.
They got rid of Mantar.
Yeah, they shit canned him before they put. Like I said, they taped stuff with them. Like they had dark matches and stuff that they taped. But he never made an appearance.
Because at that time in the WWE, everybody was a 4-man gang. So why you would cancel one of the members makes no sense. You know what I mean? I know it was Mantar, but I mean, I doubt anybody would have recognized him. I think he wore a mask.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you guys don't understand who the Commandant was, I can explain that he was in movies. Like, this man was an actor. An actor. I say was, like he's dead. He's still alive. But if you want to find out who the Commandant is, you can go back and you can watch such cinematic classics as American Ninja 4 Annihilation, Cyborg Cop 2, and my personal favorite movie that he appeared in, Master Harold and the Boys.
That doesn't sound too kosher. So I'm going to skip that one. But I like
Master Harold and the Boys.
I wonder what he was mastering.
The Boys.
That one was probably in Howard Finkel's collection.
I think they didn't have gay porn.
Yeah, you don't know that.
JR was like, don't watch that. Just watch Silk Stockings Wednesday at 9. And Sundays on Sunday Night Heat.
Sassafras. Yeah, Master Harold and the Boys.
It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. Master Harold and the Boys.
I'm surprised that isn't a faction in AEW.
Well, actually it is. I don't know if you've ever heard of the wrestler from Ring of Honor. What's his name again? The real flamboyant guy that kind of looks like Liberace. Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle. Yeah, well, he comes out with the Boys, and they're dressed like, in feathers and mask. And
I know that. I didn't look too much into what Master Harold and the Boys is about. That was a movie.
Sometimes it's a door you don't want to open.
And the Commandant was in it.
That is a search engine search I don't want to use because it might get me in trouble.
But he basically talks down America and repeatedly calls them sissies.
Sissy.
Like, that's his go-to. It's like, you American sissies.
Sissy. That's how he says it. Sissy.
That wouldn't fly today.
Is he sissy, or is he calling us sissies or sassy?
I I'll never forget the way he says it. That's how he says it. He says, "Susser."
That's what I'm saying. Like, are you calling me a sissy or sassy? Because either way, I don't like it. I take
Right.
offense.
I met Terry Funk once. He said, "What are you, a susser?" Anyway,
But he sends it then to a video of a man that is not a sissy, a sussy, but it's a man that should be respected, and that's Bret the Hitman Hart. And he is on a video because Bret Hart is in South Africa. He's in Cape Town, South Africa, and he's cutting a promo from a bathroom. And it's acoustic that way too. Like, this is a bad audio and video. And he basically is talking about how Americans can't handle the fact that Bret Hart's right, and that he's in Cape Town, South Africa, and he got a hero's welcome, and the South African people are wonderful people, unlike the shithead Americans.
Yeah, shitheads.
So next week, go ahead.
In my opinion, we're still shitheads, but that's just my feeling.
Pretty
much. So next week is now disclosed that Raw is South Africa. Raw will be in South Africa next week, Johannesburg, South Africa. So that's coming up. The next thing is the big talking segment for this show. It's Vince McMahon introduces HBK. I'll try to get through this quick. First off, I hate when at this era Vince would interview HBK. They were just basically jacking each other off.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's like
Vince man
and Vince going ha ha ha. It's like
it's Vince fake laughing at Sean's terrible jokes.
Yeah,
Sean saying Vince man.
I don't take to authority. You know about that, right?
Somebody in the ring knows about that.
Yeah. Like, why don't you guys just smack each other's asses and get it over with? Part of me thinks Hawk was right in that one.
He may have been.
He said they were gay together.
So that's the only reason. He said the only.
That's how he said it, though.
I know. He said the only reason I can understand why Vince would fire Bret over Sean is that they were gay together.
Gay together.
Anyway,
as opposed to gay with someone else. I mean, they were gay together.
HBK says he's not going to. Basically, he's not going to tell anybody when he's coming back, so everybody needs to stop asking him. He brings up Bret Hart always. He said people asked why Bret Hart became the bad guy, has become a bad guy. And he says, I got news for you. Bret's always been a bad guy. He says the WWE, he says that Bret has said that the WWE or WWF has exploited his family. But he says that Bret Hart is, in fact, the one that exploited his own family because he wanted to make money. HBK says that he supported Bret when Bret was the champion, but Bret didn't do the same for him once he became the champ. He said Bret went home hoping the WWF would fall and implode without him, but it didn't. He said it did better. We made more money in the time that Bret was gone, and he points at Vince and he goes, am I right or am I wrong? And Vince says, you're right. He also says that Bret Hart used WCW as a bargaining chip to leverage to get more money out of this man, and he points at Vince and he says that he would never do that, and he works his ass off for Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon is one hell of a guy and deserves somebody working hard for him. HBK says that Bret Hart can't separate professional wrestling from his personal life. He said when Shawn goes home, he's not Shawn Michaels or HBK. He's just Shawn. When Bret goes home, he's still Bret the Hitman Hart. Shawn's talked about freedom of speech and then begins, he says, I believe in freedom of speech and expression, and now I'm going to strip. So then he starts to strip. But Owen and Bulldog come out to confront Shawn Michaels because they said, don't say anything about Bret. And Shawn basically said everything about Bret. But then Shawn grabs a chair and backs down Bulldog and Owen, and they run away. Good goddamn. I hope I explained all of that.
There is sure you didn't.
There is
sure
a stark.
Leave anything out?
There's what?
There is a stark difference, because we talked about Nitro. We talked about the politics behind the scenes playing out on camera. The politics behind the scenes playing out on camera on WCW makes for something confusing and at times kind of annoying. Whereas, being honest, the politics between Brett and Sean playing out on TV and WWF is fascinating. I don't know why. It's just more entertaining.
I think the dynamic between Brett and Sean they had such a lifelong relationship with one another, coming in as tag teams, battling as tag teams, and then the Intercontinental title. One was always a face, one was always a heel. That it helped the feud, you know what I mean? Because they kept having a nice slow build whenever they would fight. Where with the NWO, it was just everything was just so fast, and then all of a sudden, like you said, Nate, it should have been ended by Sting. If it was going to come to an end, it should have been by Sting. Here it is, it's infighting. You know what I mean? And it's their own it's their own personal problems causing that infighting. So
yeah.
So like I said, there was a lot to unpack in that, and I think Sean went where he wanted to go, and part of me is thinking Sean went there because Brett wasn't there.
Probably. So, nobody there to retaliate.
Yeah. I mean, even if some of the shit he said is kind of true, it's like there's nobody that can rebut what I'm saying or whatever. But so that all happened, and then the War Zone begins. We get the War Zone intro video, and then the match that they're gonna open the War Zone with is Barry Horowitz and Freddie Joe Floyd versus the Headbangers. This match is going on. Honky Tonk Man shows back up after getting punched in the face, and they're like, "Your surprise didn't go very well, Honky," because he had been saying he's gonna have a surprise, and then Billy hit him. And he's like, "That wasn't the surprise. I don't know what you're talking about. It had nothing to do with my surprise." And
what are you,
Vernon White, he cuts a promo. Vernon White is a guy that's going to have a no-hold exhibition with Ken Shamrock later on tonight. And Vernon White cuts this promo, and he says, "Exhibition is just another word for a fight." No, it isn't. An exhibition isn't really a fight. It's an exhibition.
Are we sure this guy's qualified to be in this thing?
I think he's been hit a couple too many times. But anyway.
Apparently he was Ken Shamrock's sparring partner throughout his career. And when they would spar, they'd go pretty hard with one another. And him not being used to being in wrestling, he didn't know predetermined and how it was going to go down. So when he got to the arena, and they're like, "Okay, so Ken is going to rough you up, and then you're just going to, take it." He was like, "Fuck no." And he told Ken, "I'm going full force." And if you guys watch this segment, I don't think that Peacock has it, but if you watch it on YouTube, Ken Shamrock busts this guy open and just goes to town on him.
Oh, it's on there.
It is on Peacock?
I watched it.
Well, he beats the hell out of this guy, like, I guess because he felt he was getting disrespected.
So they start talking about South African Raw again, and much like Honky Tonk Man wanted some of them fur lines or whatever when he was over in Germany, he said that he heard that these South African women are some hotties, and he's going to get him some when he goes to South Africa next week. And Jim Ross goes, "Oh, my God." Oh, good Lord. So Honky's looking to get some South African ass next week, and the Headbangers end up winning with a stage dive on Freddie Joe Floyd.
Aaron, I have a question. Remember how they had Thursday, Raw Thursday?
Yeah.
Is this episode from South Africa going to be known as South Africa, Raw South Africa?
I was either thinking that or Raw is African.
That could work too. I like maybe that could be the first hour, and then South Africa Raw. South Africa could be the second hour.
We'll figure it out when we get there.
All right.
Vince Russo's like, hear me out, bro. Raw is apartheid.
I heard Toto's going to perform.
That's the opening song. Yes.
Then they announce that Sid, who is supposed to be facing Mankind tonight, has yet to arrive. I'm not sure if this is when Sid had his heart attack or what, but he's not there yet.
No,
And
he
then
was at the batting cages.
maybe he had a heart attack at the batting cages.
Maybe you might be right.
Instead of the hospital, he just went back to his hotel room.
With bad news or downtown Bruno.
Yeah.
And then we get the no holds barred expedition. I can never say that word.
Exhibition
With Vernon White and Ken Shamrock. Vernon White kicks Ken Shamrock pretty hard. And then we have the aforementioned Ken Shamrock beating the shit out of this guy and breaking his nose, and he's bleeding all over the place. And Jack Doan stops it and introduces Ken Shamrock as the winner. Then JR attempts to interview Ken Shamrock, who stumbles over his words like he always does. And then Vader ends up coming out, and they get pulled apart. So basically they're moving in now to Vader feuding with Ken Shamrock. And then we get Big Van Vader's match against handsome Frank Stiletto, who I think we talked about on a couple of the Slice of Time episodes. Yes. Big time heel in the Northeast independent circuit, Frank Stiletto.
Regular opponent of King Kong Bundy.
That stiletto heel joke is stupid, but neither one of you guys ever laugh when I do it, but it cracks me up. It personally makes me laugh. But anyway, Vader beats him. And during that match, Mankind cut a promo saying that he wanted to make amends with The Undertaker and had a present for him. Then Gorilla Monsoon appears, and they're asking him about Sid. And Gorilla Monsoon's like, I don't know where the fuck Sid is. If he doesn't show, I'm going to replace him because I told these people they'd see Mankind. He's like, I looked up and down the available roster for the evening, and the only person that's a suitable replacement for Psycho Sid would be Steve Austin. And then Steve Austin pops up, and he's like, I already wrestled once tonight. And then Gorilla Monsoon says, if I'm going to tell you you're going to wrestle again, you're going to wrestle again. And Steve Austin has this brace in his hand, like his knee brace in his hand, and he holds it up. And he goes, if I'm going to tell you I'm going to wrap this around your fat head, I'm going to wrap it around your fat head. Like he's threatening to hit him. And this is why I think they know Sid's done. Because Austin says, I heard, and he stops for a second, and he's like, I always want to get my hands on Bret Hart again. He's like, I heard Sid has a match against Bret on April 20th. And Gorilla Monsoon says, correct. And he goes, well, if I have to replace Sid tonight, if I have to do this, if Sid doesn't show up and I have to wrestle his match, I want that match with Bret Hart on April 20th. And Gorilla Monsoon says, fair enough. Fair is fair. If Sid doesn't show up, he doesn't get that match with Bret either, and you can have it. So then Steve Austin's like, all right. He walks away. He doesn't wrap the brace around his fat head. He might even said big old fat head. I can't remember exactly, but it was basically fat head cracked me up. So Mankind, he comes out, and Jim Ross interviews Mankind about burning The Undertaker last week. And Mankind basically says that The Undertaker is soft. He said, I got into this thing wanting The Undertaker to know who I am, but I'm sad and down because The Undertaker really doesn't know who I am. He sits there in his fancy cars and his fancy hotels, and I'm down here in the gutter. He's like, I bleed, do this, do that. He's like, Undertaker will never understand what it's like to be on a plane having burning flesh and people staring at you, and then getting home and your wife saying, what's that smell? What's burning? And it's you. You have to explain to your wife that it's you. He goes, and I have white trash hillbillies throwing rocks in my house saying, die, mankind, die. And my baby's asking me, save me, daddy, protect me, daddy. And I say, I can't protect you. And he's just going off on this whole, it's like fucking awesome. Like he's like, if any of you people wonder how mankind got somebody to even marry him, let alone procreate, if you can't believe that, just shut off the goddamn TV. Like, stop watching. And it's just, it's like, it's the most, like Nate always says, he loves those ECW promos. It's the most Cactus Jack as mankind
Definitely.
since.
Yes.
Definitely.
Like, this is the most Mick Foley-esque ECW promo that he ever got on the fucking W. Like, even after, like, even when he became like Cactus Jack and shit, like,
Right.
this is the most Cactus Jack he ever got on fucking TV, and it was fucking fantastic. Like, I don't do the promo justice. Like, he took the majority of his ECW promos and did all the hits from it.
And this is also when he started. This is essentially the promo where he started washing away the ultra cartoony mankind character.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, 'cause in about a month or so, you're going to get the sit down with Jim Ross and all that. So this is the beginning of him washing away the mankind is just some weird guy that was in the basement with a rat. You know, mankind is actually Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
This is
anyway,
Foley's baby
Old
boy.
garbage, psychological warfare type stuff.
yeah.
Whatever. Well, then the Undertaker's gong hits, and we get the Undertaker promo over the PA system. I'm assuming the Undertaker was in South Africa. I'm assuming they probably sent him and Brett, because this is almost like a Skeleton Crew type show. So he gets a promo talking about how basically he's just doing the Undertaker, gonna rest in peace for catching me on fire or whatever. Oh, by the way, sorry, Mankind's present to the Undertaker was a Mankind mask, because he said we're gonna look the same because of what I did to your face. Then the glass breaks and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out because Sid didn't show up. They brawl all over the building. During the match, Owen and Bulldog come out and they watch from a distance, like up in the crowd. Austin ends up getting attempts a superplex on Mankind, which brings the Bulldog and Owen down to the ring. LOD decide to come out and cut them off, and then Vader attempts to get involved, but ends up hitting Mankind by mistake. The referee calls for a disqualification. Austin wins via disqualification and bails out. And then Vader and Mankind start to fight, but it ends up Paul Bearer playing mediator, and Vader and Mankind hug, and that's how we go off the air. And that's the Monday Night War of April 7th. Is that right? April 7th, 1997.
Really good Raw, kind of a mediocre Nitro.
I was just about to say I'd give it to Raw if I was scoring it.
But neither show was terrible, but
No.
it was good times had by all. So unless you guys have anything else to hype or say anything about, I think we'll go ahead and close it up.
I think I'm good.
All right.
I am also good.
So I want to thank everybody for listening. Like I said, listen to all the available shows on We Can't Wrestle Podcast Network, WrestleNet Radio. Enjoy all of them. They're all great, and I appreciate you guys joining me today. So thank you very much.